Good afternoon. If I can have your attention, my name is Chuck Tombarge. I'm the Director of Public Relations at the university. And we're going to get started here in just a second. Just wanted to go over a few ground rules for all of us. We'll be starting with some formal comments from President Kaler and Mr. Teague. And then we will follow that with some Q&A time. There will be folks in the audience with microphones. So if you have a question from the media, please raise your hand and we'll get to you with a microphone so everyone can hear the question. We will get started. If everyone can turn off their cell phones as well, or turn them to vibrate at least, we will be in good shape. Thanks very much.
Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Eric Kaler, President of the University of Minnesota, and it's my great pleasure today to introduce you to Norwood Teague, the new Director of Golden Gopher Athletics, pending approval by the Board of Regents. He is a person who will lead our athletic program into its next era of integrity, academic excellence, and victory. Norwood is the real deal and a true professional. He has a vast and deep knowledge of big-time college athletics administration and marketing experience. In FBS football, Division I basketball, and all the other sports that make for a robust and broad-based athletics program. The checklist for my ideal athletics leader for Gopher Athletics was long, diverse, and demanding. Experience? Check. 2 decades in administering top-flight programs with an impressive trajectory to this point in his career. Commitment to academic excellence. Check. Examine his record at VCU and the gains made by student-athletes in his programs. Success in marketing, major and sophisticated media markets, lots of it. Fundraising. Established great partnerships everywhere he's been, and Norwood is particularly known within the nation's athletics community for his strong external relations skills. Facilities development, check. He's gotten them built and upgraded, so his programs, major and mid-major, can be very competitive in a collection of highly competitive environments. Commitment to gender equity, Search Committee Co-Chair Mary Jo Kane and I made sure of that. Winning, he helped transform Virginia Commonwealth Athletics program, surely in men's and women's basketball, and also in non-revenue sports such as tennis and golf. He believes in broad-based programs, as do I. He believes in winning and winning the right way, as do I. And one other thing, besides earning his master's degree from one of the nation's leading athletics administration programs, Norwood earned his undergraduate degree from the University of North Carolina, one of the nation's top public research universities, as is the University of Minnesota. And most significantly, his degree was in political science. And believe me, I can't think of a better background for an academic career for Gopher Athletics. And before I'm asked and before he's asked, let me tackle the football issue. Norwood has 20 years of big-time college sports experience, and most of those 2 decades have been spent in FBS programs. Football is not new to Norwood. The success of football here at Minnesota, on the field, in the TCF Bank Stadium stands, and in the classroom is central to the goals I have established for him. The athletic and financial success of our football program is among our highest priorities, and I'll let Norwood speak more on that issue. But I am extremely confident that he is fully equipped and has the capacity and then some to manage our entire athletics program from football to softball and from rowing to wrestling. Now, we know that for many Minnesotans and certainly many of our nearly 500,000 alumni, Gopher Athletics and our facilities serve as a front door and a window into the university. We do many great things on this campus and across our campuses statewide. And every day at the University of Minnesota, we tell many spectacular stories about our students, our faculty, our research, and our community engagement. So as president, I want intercollegiate athletics to reflect and reinforce the values of this university: diversity, integrity, excellence, personal responsibility, an entrepreneurial spirit, and a strong commitment to operational efficiency and excellence. I know Norwood shares these values. In closing, I want to express my sincere thanks to the more than 20 members of our Search Advisory Committee, and an enormous thanks to the 4-person search committee chaired by Vice President Tim Mulcahy, Professor Kane, John Lindahl, and my Chief of Staff, Amy Phoenix. I want to thank our coaches and the entire athletics department staff for your input and your patience, and I'm excited for you that Norwood is your new leader. I also want to take a moment to thank Joel Maturi for his decade of service as our athletic director. So to our entire university community and to the millions of Gopher fans, I'm very excited to introduce to you the new University of Minnesota Athletic Director, Norwood Teague. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I want to tell everybody here how excited I am to be here. Dr. Kaler, I want to thank you for your belief in me, and I look forward to joining your team. And I look forward to a bright future here at Minnesota, and this is a university going places under your leadership, and I'm honored to be a part of that. Also want to thank the search committee. I know that they put a lot of time into this, and I enjoyed my interview, and we look forward to getting to know you, or I look forward to getting to know you better as time goes on. Thank you for the time that you spent. Also, thank you to the search advisory committee. Enjoyed meeting with them as well. A great group of people, and I look forward to, just like the other committee, getting to know them and spending time with them here going forward. As I said, I'm thrilled to be part of such a world-class research and academic institution like the University of Minnesota. I'm also thrilled to be a part of the great state of Minnesota, a state with extraordinary people and with a terrific pride in who they are. I know I have big shoes to fill. Joel Maturi has done an unbelievable job here for 10 years, and he when I ask people about him, and they say classy, a man of integrity, a man that had unbelievable commitment to women's athletics, a gentleman who saw the University of Minnesota through some changing times for 10 years. So, Joel, I look forward to getting to know you better. I enjoyed my conversation with him today. I look forward to him helping me with the transition. And most importantly, I look forward to being great friends as we move forward here at Minnesota. So, Joel, congratulations for 10 years, and let's give him a big hand right now, even though he's not here. He also tells me he still runs every day, and he's 67 years old. I was impressed with that when we talked about that. Many of you have asked me, and many of my colleagues around the country have asked me why I'm a good fit for Minnesota and why was I so interested in this job. First of all, I think Minnesota athletics in the next 5 or 10 years has an unbelievable opportunity for dramatic growth, and I think the ceiling is very high. Why do I say that? Well, first of all, there's incredible support and incredible interest in this athletic program. I feel it, I see it, and I hear it every time I'm around people who have anything to do with the Gophers. I do think that facilities are going to be a challenge, but I do think there's a solid structure in place, especially here, and some other facilities on campus. I know there's some work to do, but still there's a good base that has been put in place. Also, I know we have an outstanding group of coaches who I've had a chat with, know many of them already, and knew many of them, some of them beforehand. So that was a big interest to me, and I know that this is a quality group. Most of all though, I have detected a burning desire from Gopher fans for improvement in our athletic programs and to operate and to win at a higher level. I hear it all the time. I know that also this job was one that needed an external candidate, and that's my background. I raised money at 3 different schools or have been involved with development at 3 or 4 different schools before coming here. At Virginia Commonwealth, we were really able to have some success in that area. It's in my wheelhouse, as they say. It's my strength, and fundraising and friend-raising is really what I enjoy, or one of the elements that I enjoy about being an athletic director. At VCU, we've been able to transform the athletic department by raising literally millions of dollars for facilities and for all types of projects there. Another reason why I was interested in this job, I wanted to get back to a football job. And I know Dr. Kaler mentioned my past football experience, and I was involved with football for 13 years at 3 different schools before going to VCU. I'll tell you a little story about the football side of things. When I was getting ready to take my job at VCU, I was a little hesitant because it was a basketball-centric job, and I didn't want to be pigeonholed at just a basketball school as an athletic director. So several of my colleagues at North Carolina said, why don't you call Jim Delaney, who was, as you know, a North Carolina alum. And I'll never forget standing in my driveway in Chapel Hill and asking Commissioner Delaney what he thought about that. And he said, Norwood, you've been at 3 football schools in Arizona State, at North Carolina, and Virginia. You've worked directly with football. You know how to market, raise money with football. Go for it. You'll get to a football school after that. So I'm glad my dream came true, and I'm glad to be back at a football school. Also, another attractive part of this job for me is that it's in a major metro area. I have been exposed to that. I enjoy that. I think it's a great environment for college athletics. I think it's a great environment for fundraising. I had the experience at Arizona State, being in a major metro area, competing with professional teams, and also obviously in Richmond with VCU. I think it's an asset rather than a liability. And with such a passionate backyard here at the University of Minnesota with 260,000 some odd alums in the area, there's a lot of people that need to be coming to our games that maybe don't. There's a lot of people who could support us financially that are not in the loop right now, so I consider that a real asset and something I look forward to. Before I open up for questions, I want to share a last story and tell you, I know I don't sound like I'm from Minnesota, but I have Minnesota connections and I have Minnesota roots. And let me tell you a very quick story before I open up for questions. 7 years ago, my father was widowed as my mother passed away from Alzheimer's. And a year and a half later, they were married 53 years. And a year and a half later, we were blessed and fortunate that he met a woman by the name of Muriel Elkins. And they had been married for 5 years. I told my dad he robbed the cradle. He was 78 and she was 77 at the time. But, and I say but because of the Minnesota roots, her name is Muriel Elkins, and she was the former Muriel Hansen. And she was born in Dodge Center, Minnesota, so I've gotten a lot of Minnesota lessons of late. But more importantly, her dad played basketball here at the U in the early 20s. His name was Ernest Hansen, and his brother was a teammate of the legendary Bronco Nagurski here at Minnesota. So I have Minnesota roots, and I'm very proud of them. Thank you very much, and I'll open up for questions now, but before I do that, I just want to say again how excited I am to be here. I do think the sky's the limit, and I'm thrilled about moving forward, and I look forward to working with all these coaches, and I see here Tubby, Coach Kill, and others, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you, and questions? He asked about challenges in facilities. You know, I've got to research it a little bit more. I know that there's been, I mean, obviously this facility is immaculate, but there's other facilities, whether it be track or others, that I'll need to research and find out a little bit more about and actually walk around. I've walked around quite a bit, but we're in the Big Ten, and we've got to have facilities that are Big Ten facilities. So in the next years to come, it's going to be important that we raise money to support those type venues that are first class. I had good conversation with the coaches today, and they mentioned that facilities are high on their list as far as a priority of something that needs to be or have work. So I'm going to evaluate that in the next 3 to 4 months and go hard after putting together. Also, I'll say this, in chatting with Dr. Kaler today, I'm going to start a master facility plan here in the next year, which I think is very important to do, to really set a vision in place for what we want, where we want it, and how we want it. That's a detailed process, but it's something that is needed, and it really can set a vision. And I think if you have big dreams, you attract big donors, and that's what we need to do.
Norwood, you have passed over some other opportunities from some other big-time colleges. So why did you pass those over, and why was Minnesota that much more enticing to you?
I told one of the committees today that sometimes you just have a gut feel. And I got to be honest with you, it was that. I did mention the things earlier about the fact that it seemed to fit me and my skill set as far as fundraising and an external AD. I did like the metro environment. I really honestly enjoy that. I think that if you have that market and you have that type potential around you and in your own community, that the sky's the limit. So it was a gut feel. It was those two items. I do also think this department is not broken. There's a lot of great things here. There's a legacy that Joel is leaving to build upon, whether it be in women's athletics, whether it be in any area. So we're, shall we say, positioned in a great way to really move it forward. And I sensed that. I knew it. I told some of the committees earlier, I took a little personal trip up here on Easter weekend, and I did that before I even knew I was going to become a candidate. I came up on my own, and I walked around campus literally for 2 days, and I asked questions, and I I hope I was disguised, but I asked questions all over town about Minnesota athletics, where we are, who we are, where we're going, and it gave me a great feel of this place, and I really got a good idea of I belonged here, and I was excited after I left for that Easter weekend. Yes.
Norwood, my name is Jim Rich with Fox 9 here in Minneapolis. Welcome. First off, in your bio it says you raised revenues 119% at VCU. You look at this market though, and you're going against professional teams. There's a lot of other things where businesses can throw their support. How were you able to do it there? How do you envision doing that job here?
Well, you have to have strong relationships, and that means strong relationships with current donors and strong relationships with donors you're going to cultivate. And it's not easy. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of hard work. And that's the way we were able to do it there. I was able to do or be involved with that a lot at other schools as well. I think you have to be gregarious. You have to be aggressive. You have to put a vision in place that people can buy into and feel great about. So it's a lot of hard work. It's establishing that vision, and it's being positive and gregarious and shaking hands a lot.
Norwood, how would you describe, when you hear the word commitment to a football program, that whether it's President Kaler, new head coach
Right.
Jerry Kill, how would, in your mind, what does that word mean? We hear it a lot, that the program, that the university is now recommitted, or they're committed to football,
Right.
winning football games here.
You know, I think it means a lot of things. I think it's acknowledging that football is important. It's acknowledging that football can do great things for a university, and just acknowledge. And when you acknowledge that, you've won half the battle there. After that, I think little things take place. You, again, as I said, you aggressively fundraise to support what Coach Kill needs, and you also market, and you fill seats, and you are creative, innovative, and aggressive in that area. So it's a lot of little things, but obviously under the leadership of Dr. Kaler, he understands that, and we've talked about, as he said, one of his biggest surprises after going around the state his first couple of months was how passionate the fan base was about Gopher football. So that's great to hear, and ready to go. Here.
Norwood, on the subject of fundraising, what's sort of your maybe career highlight in sales pitch, and maybe a project that was more challenging and that you're able to kind of come to
They're all
completion?
challenging. I was proud recently after last summer we at VCU were able to build a $4 million privately fundraised club seating tower and a suite project, office renovations for men's and women's basketball. But the main thing I was proud about is we had 90% of that money committed before we went to the Final Four and before we even got into the NCAA tournament. So it was not a result of the Final Four, but the timing was perfect. And it really, and this is part of the pride of that project. I mean, granted, it brought in great revenue, and it's a shining star, but it really helped the basketball program there. It just brought a whole different feel and class to that venue at that time. So I was very proud of that and how that worked out. And also, I know there's facilities people in here. We got it done within about a 4-month period, which was almost a miracle. And there was a lot of nailing nails late at night. You got that right there?
Oh, thank you. How did you retain Shaka Smart?
I begged and I pleaded and I kept him away from Illinois. No, Chuck and I, first of all, have a very close relationship, like I want to and will develop with Coach Smith and Coach Kill and others. I mean, there's nothing more important to me than develop close relationships with your coaches. As an athletic director, you have to be actively involved in their program as an advocate, and it's just something that is in my nature and something that I want to do. So Shock and I have had and have a very, very close relationship. And also, he wanted things in the program financially more than his salary. In other words, a commitment to men's basketball, a commitment to finances, travel, recruiting, from a financial standpoint that we had proved we were going to do it, and we had done it before this year when he was recruited by other schools. So really those two things. It was a relationship I felt like was strong, and the shot in the arm we've given the program. And he and I have had a tough couple of days, and we're very close, and me leaving has certainly not pleased him, but he knows that it was the right move.
What did you see when you hired
what I see in Shaka when I hired him, his values. First of all, I knew that he was not going to cut corners with compliance or NCAA rules. Also knew that he cared about the student athlete to an extreme, and he also was well connected in recruiting. Coach Smith knows this. You're either a good recruiter or you're a great recruiter, and I felt like he was a great recruiter and really knew a lot of people around the country. And also, I loved his mentors. He had worked for Keith Dambrot at Akron and Oliver Purnell at Clemson and Billy Donovan. I'd also hired Anthony Grant from Florida, from Billy Donovan's staff. So I've robbed Billy twice, so I owe him back. But that was key. That was very key. And also, just like in any hiring process, I loved what people said about him when I drilled deep and around him, whether it be beat reporters in former towns or athletic directors or people that just knew him. And I had a sense, go back to gut feel. I mean, it's my gut feel about being here. I had a gut feel about him when I hired him. It's hard to explain.
Kind of a follow-up question to that. Just to put the rumors to bed, because I'm sure you're going to be asked this a million times, but is there any chance he's coming here with you?
No. He has some years left there at VCU. He's got his first time he has his whole team there. So no. He plus keep in mind he was born in Madison, Wisconsin. So that's a problem right there. So yes, there's somebody back here. Anybody else? Was somebody here? Oh, there you go.
Maturi has, throughout his time, placed a heavy emphasis on all 25 programs here. Is that something that you see as a sustainable thing to continue?
I do, and I was, again, telling some of the committees earlier today, that was not an issue at VCU, but when I was at North Carolina, we had 28 sports. They have 28 sports there, and that was an ongoing heartburn of deciding, can we sustain this? Can we afford this? And just like we decided there at that time, I feel strongly about having a broad-based program, especially in the Big Ten. You need that, and we'll work hard to fund them at the highest level. And I believe strongly in 25 sports is probably right in the wheelhouse of a good number. It can get problematic just because you want to support everybody again at the highest level, but I feel strongly that you have to do that. You need a strong women's program and women's programs on the other side as well, and I think 25 is a perfect number. Coach Kill, you got any questions? Coach Smith, any of your questions? Any of these other guys? Toby, I gave you a chance to ask me a question. You're talking to your players there. Coach Kill? We good?
Good.
Thank you so much.
This is the first day of the next chapter of Gopher Athletics. We've got Goldie here to celebrate. Thank you all for coming.